Alright, it's actually really, really simple. Like, it's not hard at all. First of all, copy this down and let's write some notes down in your book. So open your book. This is very important. So y equals mx plus c is just a general formula of an equation of a straight line. Now, what these mean is y and x you know. Y is the y coordinate, x is the x coordinate. However, m is called a gradient and y-intercept is called c. So those highlighted bits I want you to write down. In particular, so this is really all you need to write down. Maybe just write gradient and y-intercept. So the m is like basically the number in front of the x. So if it's connected to the x, it's called a gradient. And if the number is by itself, C and M can basically be any number, but this one, C, when it's by itself, it's called a y-intercept. So let's have a look at this example. Can you copy example 4 in your book? Pause the video, copy it down, and then we'll actually give it a go. So state the gradient and the y-intercept of the line with the equation. Y equals, so let's do A first, y equals 2x minus 3. So hopefully you can see that this equation is in a similar format as our y equals mx plus c formula, which is the general formula of a straight line. Do you see that? Hopefully you also can notice that, we wrote these notes that m is the gradient and then the c is the y-intercept. So m is basically the number that's in front of the x, which in this case is number 2. So we can write, therefore, gradient, which is also known as m, is 2. And then let me use a different color to show which answer is the C. So C is just basically the number that's by itself. Hopefully you can see that minus 3 is kind of by itself. So all I have to do is write y-intercept is minus 3. That's it. That's really literally it. Let's try the next equation. So y equals minus 3x plus 5. So this looks similar to our general equation. And hopefully you can see that my m value in front of the x is minus 3. So let's write that down. Gradient, which is the m value, is minus 3. And let's use the blue color to identify which one's my number by itself, which hopefully you can see it's just 5. So it's that easy. There you go. Done. You're done. So let's have a look at this example. For this example, what you have to do is you have to draw the graph. Okay? So what we do know is to use the y-intercept C to plot this point. Okay, so we can plot a point on the y-axis. And then starting from that coordinate, you use the horizontal and vertical steps of the M, okay, to locate another point. And all I have to do is join the 2 points. So we've done this before. We just now have to draw and, figure out what my y-intercept is and the slope from this equation, which I know. So this is my gradient. This is my number by itself is the y-intercept. Hopefully you practiced it enough in these sort of questions that you can identify it really easily. So first things first, I draw my axes. And what I want to do is draw my y-intercept first. My y-intercept can be written as a coordinate. X value is always 0. And my y-intercept value is just going to be that number, which is 5. So this is the coordinate. So I go find it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is my y-intercept at 0, 5. Now all I have to do is use the gradient. Now when I use the gradient, I want to make sure, so if I write the gradient again, my gradient, let me write it on this side, is just minus 3 over 4. At the moment, my minus is written in front of the fraction. However, you want to make sure remember that this is my x step and this is my y step. I always like to have my x step positive because I find that easier because I go left to right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it so my my minus is at the top. So you can really write it anywhere. You could write it here, but I'm going to choose it to go on the top section. So that's my y step. This is my x step. So all I have to do is take them. So I do 4, positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I go -3 for the y-step, so I go down 1, 2, 3. So that's my final coordinate, and all I have to do is connect the dots. Okay, so I just go like this using a ruler in your book, and yeah, that's it. So write the formula as well. You always, when you draw a line, you need to write the formula next to it. So basically that's it. That's how you draw the graph. So now that you've written both of these examples in your book nice and neatly, can you please try these questions? So 18E, question 1 to 3. You don't have to do every single thing. You don't have to do every single question. Just choose a column because there's a lot there. But for question 4 and 8, I want you to try all of them. So it's page 285. I want you to do that first. And if you can finish that, awesome. We're going to move on to the next thing. If not, that is your focus for today.